Hello, this is the Fight Back podcast, hosted by exercise scientist Georgia Very. Here you'll find a series of honest conversations about martial arts and mental health. My guests and I explore the statement that every martial artist has heard: martial arts saved me. How and why do combat sports save people? Listen to find out. Hey there, conscious combat soul. What, you? Yes, I'm talking to you. If you listen to this podcast, then you are a human being who loves combat and wants to be conscious about the way that you're doing it. You're interested in being more trauma-informed, more inclusive, and more ethical in the way that you teach and participate in martial arts and combat sports. And that's why I would like to invite you specifically to join our new group, the Conscious Combat Club. We're on Facebook, and there's an emailing newsletter that you can sign up for, the details for both of which are in the show notes here. But now, let's get to today's episode. Welcome to the Fight Back podcast, everyone. I am here today with Les Bubka. Les is involved with teaching karate to people with disabilities, and he is also the founder of Karate for Mental Health, which I'm very excited to learn all about. Les, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Georgina. Happy to be here.
Amazing. Can you please tell me a little bit more about you, who you are, how you got into karate, the whole story? We want to hear it all.
No problem. My name is Les Bubka. I'm Polish, so I was born in Krakow. Moved to UK in 2007. I started my adventure with martial arts, stepping into a Oyama Karate dojo, which is the offshoot of Kyokushin. At 14, then I had a bit of an accident with my shoulder, which been dislocated, not related to karate. I had to stop. Stepping back to the dojo in 1997, and since then training karate plus wrestling. I suffered with a huge social anxiety, which was preventing me from doing simple things like going to shops, meeting people, failing school, etc., etc. And karate helped me to overcome that through the training. At the moment, I'm working with mental health charities, providing sessions for their clients. I work with people with disabilities, ranging from deafness to MS. And we're having fun and promoting inclusion in our club, and basically having fun.
My God, I want to know so much about your program. So maybe let's go one thing at a time. Tell me about what a class looks like with someone with a hearing disability, because I know karate can often be really difficult if there's a lot of sound bouncing off the walls, and there's lots of noises that go on with karate, from hitting pads to the kiais and everything like that. So what do you do differently?
So it was a process of learning, because I think we're all, let people say, I'm nearly fully able, right? Or more able than others. And we have one of the students who is profoundly deaf since born. She lip read, so it was a lot of misunderstanding. Because I had problems with my teeth. I lost my teeth very early. My habit is to put my hand in front of mouth, which is preventing a person who reads lip reads from understanding what I'm saying. So it was kind of adapting it to changing my habits and their habits. So what I do is I always face the person who is hard of hearing, so they can see exactly what I'm saying. I use a lot of gestures, like now, you don't see it on camera, but I'm using my hands and talking. I had to learn a little bit of a Makaton and a simple sign language. Although I am a paramedic by trade from Poland, I'm used to a Polish sign language. So English sign language is different. So it was a bit of a learning. But although we're not using that much of a language, so I don't know much of it, but we rely on me showing and demonstrating very slowly in detail. And Alex, the student that you've got, kind of is like a satellite. So she's moving around, whatever she wants to see, she needs to move around. Yeah, but the session is targeted. My focus is mainly on her, so making sure that she can see what I'm saying, if that makes sense.
Definitely. And do you work with anyone who uses a hearing aid?
Yes, we welcome everybody. It doesn't matter what disability, and we find a way. My way of doing things is I've got very individual approach. So within the class, I modify whatever I do to accommodate everybody. So there is no exclusion. It's all included, right? So it's based on the individual, right? For one person, might do this. For other person, that. I just try to adapt as much as I can, right?
Yes, I love that. And I'm asking quite specific questions because I have a friend and client who is profoundly deaf, and she trains online
Mhm.
because it's much easier for her to connect her hearing aid and be, not have distracting noises also getting picked up when she's getting me through the headphones. And she's been thinking about designing a program to teach martial arts in the US for people with hearing disabilities. So I was really curious to hear how you work around particularly hearing aids, because that's something that's been quite a barrier for her face to face.
So we've been trying to work with creating our version of Makaton,
Mm-hmm.
including karate nomenclature, so
Mm-hmm.
kicks and stuff like that, the Japanese names. But on the end, she just takes her hearing aid off
Mm.
because she's got a cognitive one, so the implant into the skull,
Mm-hmm.
and she said there's a lot of background noise she can't
Yeah.
focus on. She just literally takes it off. Is deaf. We can cry and whatever. It just makes it harder to talk to her. But we develop. I like jokes, right? My coping strategy was to be a class joker,
Mm-hmm.
and that stayed with me. So we do a lot of silly conversation, taking picky on each other and taking mickey of each other, and she say, "Oh, why did you not say that loud enough?" Or "Why did you not say that? Why did you not do that?" And I say, "Why did you not listen?"
Mm-hmm.
It's just some new people who come in thinking like, "Oh no, he didn't say that." But we're working 7 years together, so we know what we can get away with without
Mm-hmm.
upsetting each other. So it's just just. I think the main thing is to understand that there will be mistakes, there will be misunderstanding, and just take it lightly and play with it.
For sure. And what does the class look like, kind of from start to finish?
So I'm not kind of usual karate person. We don't do strict lines. It's all very friendly and open. So people come in, I welcome them. We talk about what we're gonna do. So the kind of program, what I want them to achieve. We do warm up. I kind of adapt whatever. So Alex, the deaf girl, she got problems with lower back as well. So not everything in the warm up she's gonna do, but we're trying to just warm up. Then we do technical stuff. So whatever we're working for, maybe grappling, maybe striking, maybe takedowns, and I try to explain it in kind of three ways, right? So verbal, visual, and sensory. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
sensory person, so when I feel it, that gets in there, right? But other people prefer different ways. So try to accommodate all that. Then we're gonna play. So whatever we learn, we're testing in a play kind of atmosphere, and then we've got a cool down, and then have a chat, laugh, and stay for drinks or whatever we need to do, right? So most of I kind of run the project with elderly as well, which they are hard of hearing as well. So we always stay for half an hour, tea and biscuit, which is more important than exercising.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
But it's kind of looking like that. I try to use a lot of games within warm up and stuff like that. So we learn better when we play instead of being a strict karate instructor and say, "No, this is wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong." Right. So that's how it looks usually.
I love that. Yeah, it's a strengths-based approach, but using play as part of it.
Mm,
Sounds so much fun. I want to come and train with you all.
always welcome. If you're around here, always welcome.
If I get to the UK, I'm going to come. You're on my list now. There's many great programs in the UK. So who else is in the class? So people hard of hearing, and so it's everyone all in one class. So people with MS, various disabilities, all in one group, and like how many people?
So I'm running four different classes.
Okay.
So I've got one for let's say they call themselves not so young. So it's 50 to 90 year olds. When
Yes.
we do a meditation, so we're using forms from karate in a kind of relaxive. mobility way.
Mm-hmm.
We've got my karate program where everybody's welcome. So I promote inclusion, which I'm going to talk about in a second. I explain what I mean by inclusion. And then I've got a specific program within the charity where it's only for the clients who suffer with mental health issues. So anybody from the program can come and train. Plus, I teach kettlebells for my group, mainly women who wants to go stronger and more confident. So there is kind of that group is fully able, but some people have issues like an anxiety, depression, menopause, and stuff like that. So, but all classes are inclusive, right? I don't agree with promotion of inclusion by let's group the disabled people in one class and able people in another class. For me, that's exclusion, right? We should be training all together because fully able people are not aware of challenges of people who with disabilities, and the people with disabilities often are so excluded from able people that they don't know how to behave together. So I try to bring people all together and we learn from each other. Student, anger management, alcoholic, recovering alcoholic, cancer patient, what else we've got? Anger management. So kind of is kind of whoever comes in, and we try to figure out a way how to work together and not kill each other.
The goal of every karate club.
Yes.
And do you have women's only classes or classes for people who identify with womanhood?
I don't have women only classes. I don't know what have happened, but after pandemic, I noticed a huge drop of female practitioners. I think maybe women being more affected by mental health during the pandemic, and they lost a little bit of confidence. I'm kind of odd big club because I always had more women than men in the club. So it was always 70-30. Now it dropped to 90 straight after pandemic, so 90% of men, 10% of women. But I focus advertising more on women. So we are steadily growing our members. So it's about 60-40 men to women. But I think in the UK, in karate environment, is kind of not geared very well for welcoming women. It's very masculine. You do the same probably in kickboxing, right? Although kickboxing doing a great job, at least in the UK, doing a lot of female-only classes. But in karate, it is still a male-dominated environment, which is a shame, right? Because I know very good female instructors and competitors and stuff, and I think it should be equal anyway. So.
Yeah, definitely. It's really interesting that that's been the experience in the UK post-COVID, because we've noticed a similar thing, not at my programs that I run because they are all women, but the club where I train, we noticed a huge drop-off in the women on the mats in jiu-jitsu post-COVID. It was like a lot of people stopped and never came back. So it would be a very interesting area of study for someone to look into is what was the impact of COVID on women in being able to return to martial arts. It seems like a bit of a trend internationally.
Yeah, but the only kind of difference is that my meditation class, it's 99% of women. Well, one person for 23 is one male and me. So that's two of us being dominated by ladies enjoying the kind of meditation and relaxation.
And what is it? An eyes open meditation, like stretching meditation?
Yeah, it's like Tai Chi, but I don't know nothing about Tai Chi. And so I used to be a walk leader for a walking. What was it? Now it's ended the program, but it was Walking for Health. So I was a walk leader, so we used to walk for walks, and about 40 people just chatting, and they said that they've been doing Tai Chi, but the price has been hiked up. Tai Chi in UK is quite expensive, so they said, "Well, we're not really affording it, and we're looking for something else." And they said, "Oh, are you doing karate? Can I do something like that?" Well, let's have a go.
Yep.
And 7 years now, we call it Kaiser, so body conditioning. And we're using slow music and using the karate forms to slow down and focus on different areas. So because we've got a lot of turns in forms, standing on one leg and stuff like that. So you can use that as a balance training, spatial awareness and stuff like that. So that's the way we do it. But like I said, most important tea and biscuit. So with that program, I focused on preventing loneliness and depression. I don't know how it's in Australia, but in UK, the family model is that you grow up, you start your own family, and you leave your parents behind. So they often alone and isolated. So we try to bring them together and create a group support group. So best example is when we started, people was like individuals, and now when it comes winter or summer, they're going for markets together, trips together. So they support each other, they ring each other. How are you today? And they never knew them before. So I think that's amazing for martial arts and all kind of sports and groups. You create that community that can support each other and check in on. So they're not sitting alone, especially in summer and winter. When people going for holidays. I run my classes through whole season, so I don't do school terms. I teach all the way, and the feedback was that it's great that you're teaching in summer because all the other clubs are stopping because children are not training. And I carry on, and I said it's great because my family goes for holiday. I have nobody to talk to. At least I can come and do that classes and chat, right? Because I kind of don't teach children at the moment, so it's purely for adults.
Yeah, so having the tea and biscuits afterwards, running the whole way through, the program existing. Are there any other things that you've done to try and foster that sense of community? I'm sure a lot of listeners or instructors listening would be thinking like, oh my God, that sounds like a great community that he's developed. I wonder how I can develop a community like that.
How to develop it? Just be yourself, really. I had a lot of feedback from all my classes is that when people coming in, they feel very welcome. So I like to start with showing my own vulnerability. So I'm not the macho teacher who needs to prove everybody that I'm the boss here and stuff. Now I'm just a person there, and I start telling my story. I know everybody comes in. I know how it is to step into the dojo with huge anxiety and being scared of everything. And I just tell them my story and kind of catch the connection. And if people know that I'm not the superhero, I'm a normal person who went through own troubles or mental health problems, they feel welcome. Then I try to encourage my team that everybody is welcome. I hate in martial arts that you come into the dojo sometimes, especially in big dojos, and you've got the groups, right? There's a group of guys there, there's a group of women there, and a group of competitors here, and nobody talks to everybody. I like that on my classes, everybody is a part from day one, right? You're stepping in, and all my students know that they need to go and chat with that person, right? Because that person's gonna be excluded. They don't know how to start. We're not all. I'm crap with the. Sorry, I don't know if I can.
You can swear. You can swear. You can say crap. Definitely.
I'm not the person who likes small talk. I'm struggling with small talk. It's a lot of work for over years to be able to go and speak with people freely and don't kind of shut down. So I kind of know what people are going through, and I try to show them that I know I've been there. And from there we take it, right? It's not for everybody. Not everybody stays with us. No, not everybody likes that. I've got a lot of resistance from a proper karate dojos that that's not karate because you're not doing in lines, you're not strict, you're not traditional, right? But it seems to be working. We've got about 50 people training with us, so not massive, but big enough to make a difference in the community. And we work a lot. I work a lot with local government here, which is great for supporting. So they keep throwing at me, oh, maybe you want to do this project, maybe you want that project. So I kind of jumping between projects, with autism, with disabilities, with elderly, wherever they want me to do. The answer is yes.
The answer is always us.
Yes, that's right.
Uh, so let's talk a bit more about the anxiety piece. Maybe we could start more with some of your experiences. What was it like stepping on the mat with anxiety, if that was what it was for you?
Uh, I nearly didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been interested in martial arts. I loved Van Damme.
Mm-hmm.
Blood sport was the kind of I know everybody says Bruce Lee. For me, it was Van Damme. Not the Enter of the Dragon. It was a blood sport, and I wanted to go. I've been exchanging ideas with my very few friends from school. And he said, "Well, I'm going for karate, so we should go together." And I said, "Yeah, yeah, okay." But I thought, "No, I'm not going. I
Mm-hmm.
can't go. I'm too scared. What's gonna people like? They're gonna judge me. I had a huge fear of being judged.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do any of that. They're wearing those white pajamas and stuff like that. I just hate the idea of it." And then he said, "We're going on Monday." I said, "Yeah, okay, come and pick me up." He actually came and picked me up, convinced me, but I had a tummy upset, being in the toilet 10 times. Went there and I felt like, what am I doing here? It's all
Mm-hmm.
people, jumping around, training, fighting, laughing. And the first thing was they laughing at me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm here as a joker, I can't do anything, I'm a failure. I can't do this. How would I be able to do this? All of they laughing at me. But yeah, the instructor was very welcoming as well. He said, have a try with us, have this, have that. And I kind of was hooked in. Yeah, prior to that, I started doing gym. So the physical exercises was a great escape. During lifting weights, I could kind of stop thinking about an anxiety, what people think about me.
Mm-hmm.
Just focus on not dropping that bar on my head, right? That keeps
Yep.
you keeps you focused.
Yes.
And from that community of guys in the gym, was that actually people don't necessarily judge you. They worry about their own looks, their own weightlifting and stuff like that. So in that way, a little bit broke me into the training mentality when I noticed after that first session that actually people have focused on their progression and kicking you instead of what they think about you. It was like, yes, this is my spot. I cannot think about my old problems or feelings. I have to focus on overcoming my physical abilities and technical stuff, and slowly it become instead of being forced to go, it was like, yes, I want to go. I want to have that hour and a half of peace of mind and doing stuff right.
Yes, that comes up so much, that sense of flow, of being like totally lost in what you're doing, or focusing so much that there's not space for thinking about all of the other chatter that tends to come up in our minds. So I think a lot of people would relate to a story like that. It doesn't get told that frequently, but I think a lot of people have similar experiences when they're first starting or with other things.
I think that's why my book in sorry, plugging in my book.
Plug your book, please.
So I wrote the Axis Black Belt, which is the my story, which has been very well received by karate community, and I think I'm the first kind of person within the group I know. I'm sure that other people share their stories as well. Shown that the martial artist can be vulnerable, and we don't have to be macho men and pointing that men as well going through the rough time and cry sometimes and feeling very weak and vulnerable. So yeah, that was kind of my contribution to martial art world.
For sure. In Oyama karate, do they always say, in the kun, like, we will train our hearts and bodies for a firm, unshaking spirit, is like very much the first thing. It's like there's no wavering. You are a rock. You are a warrior. There is no emotion apart from humility. If that's an emotion, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, you see, I've got a problem with that. That's my second book. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wrote the dark side of the karate, because there is so many values promoted, but actually, if you look deep inside, not many people actually do what they want you to do. So there is a lot of shady practices in karate, which I don't agree. I went through a lot of political turmoil, and it's karate likes to look gallant, but it is as any other sport, and when the money are involved, power, there's a lot of corruption and greed and very bad practices, which not everybody wants to share and tell about, right? We don't want to put students out of training, but I think if people are informed, they can choose the right dojo and look for problems that might be within that club organization, etc., etc.
100%. I think you said it all, right? It's not about karate's the best or kickboxing the best or jiu-jitsu's the best. It's about where's the best dojo, where is the best instructor with the best culture. They're really all the same, teaching different things. It's the instructors and the clubs that are going to make the difference there.
Definitely. If so, I like to train everywhere, right? I used to do wrestling, jiu-jitsu, boxing, tried kickboxing, whatever. Judo, wrestling is a big part of my training.
Yep.
And I always looked not for performance orientated. I always look what the teacher is like, right? So I need to feel comfortable and safe. If I don't feel comfortable and safe, my training not gonna be the great, right? If I'm constantly pushed, I know that I will be fighting back. I've got a huge problem with authorities. So if somebody tells me do this, my natural response is, I'm pretty wrong. I don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't kind of enforce on people what to do. I try to convince people that this is what we do, this is how we do. But from day one, I encourage people to go somewhere else, right? I hate when dojo saying that, oh, don't go there. And we've got a joke inside that they say, don't go to that dojo because they might be better than us, right?
Yes. Any dojos or clubs with the ban on cross training is hugely disappointing, and clearly egos on display.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about the martial arts program. So you have the class, which is the karate for mental health. We're doing really well today, everyone. So the karate for mental health. Again, what does that look like? How does it look different to like your regular karate, or is it similar to some of your other programs? Are there any special considerations there?
There's always a special considerations, right? Because whoever steps into the training environment is different.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of do like a pre-screening.
Mm-hmm.
As softly as I can, because not everybody is comfortable about talking their problems, especially with mental health.
Mm-hmm.
But I ask people, what should I be aware of?
Yep.
Do you have like a trigger words, trigger behaviors?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make you upset in the stuff
Yep.
in a class. So more information you can share with me, the more I can be careful.
Mm-hmm.
And from there we're trying to do whatever we can. From experience, the people with severe mental health have got also health issues.
Mm-hmm.
So my class within the mental health organization is not as demanding as my usual class.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't do takedowns because we don't have mats. We do a lot of pad work. I'm finding that pad work, you probably learned that the same thing, hitting things, making people so much happier. That release of the stresses, the physical tiredness, the focus, the coordination, it's great. They love that. So we do a lot of basics, forms, and pad work in that particular class, because this is the not the easiest, but the most able part of training what I do, because I do a lot of throws, takedowns, with the groundwork, and not everybody is comfortable in such a close contact.
Mm-hmm.
No, not everybody in my class. Not everybody likes to be touched. So having a gloves and punching their pads gives them that barrier, and they feel more secure, more comfortable.
Yep.
So for people with severe mental health, it's mostly a kind of movement-based,
mm-hmm.
plus the pad work. In my other class, we do everything. So we like wrestle and we like cuddles. Really nice people. We like cuddling.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing Brazilian. I'm guessing you're doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu as well. So
Yeah.
you know how it is, right? When you get that barrier of being uncomfortable, it's actually quite nice feeling to be able to feel other person, and not be stressed by it. It gives
Yep.
you it's kind of like swimming, right? You're going stepping into a wrestling or grappling school, and you feel like you're drowning because you've got people on you, holding you, trying to choke you. But then after a little bit, you're becoming more comfortable with the being in water, and start to swim, right? And start to flourish and enjoying it. So I try to do the same, right?
Yeah, I love that you covered that, right? Because it's not like kickboxing's better or grappling's better. Like they all have their positives. It's great
Hmm.
sometimes, and for some people to be able to create distance, to have space, but also to get the outlet from like hitting pads. And 100%, like my favorite thing about my job is people's face when they hit pads for the first time, or it's the first time of the day, and it makes that really good cracking noise. And they're just like, it's delight, right? It's play, like you said. If you think about creating games, hitting pads is like play, so long as you let it be. If you don't go around being the really serious professor who needs everything to be done perfectly, then it becomes play and it's wonderful. And I agree, grappling is we call aggressive cuddles usually.
Yeah, I noticed in the years of training in both that there's two types of people, right? There's the strikers and the cuddlers.
Mhm.
Um, when I step into the wrestling dojo, it was a huge shock. But I can tell you that if I went first to wrestling, I would never start karate,
Mhm.
because I just like to be close, right? I'm being taught how to punch. It's not natural response for me to punch, but it's natural response for me to grab. So
Mhm.
even with the sparring, I naturally try to grab. If I'm under stress, it's throwing. It's throwing. I'll
Mhm.
be throwing. I will hit you with the planet. That's what it is.
Oh, you're like the opposite to me, I think. I'm much
But
more comfortable striking. But exactly,
I
that's the
think
thing.
yeah, I think that's what the strategy's been, from the like Asian past. Some people being wrestlers, the other people prefer to strike. Just how do you deal with the world, and it's depending within you, right? It's like a genetic makeup, if I can put it that far.
Yeah, I think for sure. I think personality has a genetic component to it, which it certainly seems to. And even if it doesn't, whatever personality you arrive at on the mats, it's great to meet people where they are, and to give them options to choose between what speaks to them, because that's what accessibility and inclusion kind of is, right? It's giving
Yeah,
people options.
exactly.
What's the next plans? What's plans? What's going to happen with the program? What's in the pipeline?
So we try to do Karate for Mental Health as a charity in UK, but
Okay.
looking into it, it's so much work that having a young family, I can't dedicate it to it. So
Mm-hmm.
we decided to do a movement, so people can join in. We've got about 20 something dojos now participating in the program, where we try to support each other, promote the practices. So we've got quite a few people who are clinicians,
Mm-hmm.
mental health clinicians. So we try to get information from them. We're sharing our experiences. So I share with people how I work with my local government, what type of grants are available for helping our dojos. I've got a lot of people asking me, I've got a disabled student with this or that. How would you approach? What would you do? So it's kind of starting to be like a coaching coaches, if you see
Yes.
what I mean. I'm studying now with Open University how to become a mentor, and coach coaches. So I think that's going to be the focus. We've got a few books in the pipeline, which Karate for Mental Health,
Mm-hmm.
which is the stories of my students and how, in detail, how karate helped them,
Mm-hmm.
because there's not much studies into how karate or martial arts are actually impacting the mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So my dream would be in the future to do karate on the same level as dance therapy
Yep.
or art therapy. So you could be kind of, what's the word? Lost the word. You could be sent by a doctor, go to karate
Ah,
classes.
referred.
Refer, that's the one. Refer to a karate club. This is for you. Good for you. Good for your mental health, and just be sent by the doctor. So that's my long term work, and short term work is working on promoting mental health, benefits of karate, inclusion. I finding that a lot of dojos would like to do inclusion, but they don't have training. There's no specific courses in UK. I couldn't find any. So I'm working on a course for karate for mental health with the specific tools for teaching, because there's a lot of theory and kind of how to work within the line of the law to not be sued. You see what I mean? Kind of protection side for people, but there is no courses for specific tools. You know, you got a deaf person, use a Makaton, use this, use that. People get lost, right? With autistic students, how do you have to structure the class so they are not taken by surprise? You change the schedule. So we try to keep I put a messenger group when I'm saying this is not going to be on the training. So autistic students can go, yes, okay, I know what I'm going, I'm comfortable, and then there's no sudden changes. So I'm focusing on that course at the moment, and we'll see how it goes.
That's fantastic. I can already think of a bunch of people to connect you to as well from my connections in the UK who would be interested in joining something like that. I think it's wonderful to have an aligned movement. Like 20 clubs is really fantastic, because then you start to get a much bigger referral network where, you know, exactly like you said, if this person wants to start karate, they are in this area of the UK. Do you know of any clubs that are nearby to them? And I think for sure I want the same thing. You think of it to dance movement therapy. I'm always saying to people, you know, trauma sensitive yoga, that's going to be how it's kind of household name. Like most people have sort of heard of it, but you say trauma informed martial arts and they're like, I could see that would be good, but I've never heard of it. That's what I think the movement is gunning towards. And there's so many people doing work like yourself, right, that is pushing us in that direction. So it's super cool. One thing you touched on before was the benefits of karate for mental health. So in your experience, what are some of those?
So I say this, karate's got a built-in control failure, which translates. So most of my students, like myself, are low self-esteem, right? And you've got grades in kickboxing, right?
Pardon?
So there's
grades.
You've got grades, right?
Yeah. No, there's no. Some clubs have tried to, but there's not. But I did Kyokushin, so.
So you're familiar, right? So you've got those belts, and you're starting on a white belt or whatever color you want to call. And you, in that process, you know you're gonna fail, right? Yep. So you're failing the first belt, you have to overcome that, right? So I try to point out it's not a failure, it's a learning experience, right? And with that process of the 10 belts, you're going through the harder things. And when you overcome that, you start noticing and look back in the retrospection that, yeah, I failed there, but I picked myself up and overcome that. And within the time, I'm noticing that this mentality is being brought into life. So the student with low self-esteem say, hey, I failed here, but I picked myself, and look, 2 years later, I'm doing more and more and more. So we're shifting the mindset of I can't do it to I will try. I take it as a challenge. I conquer. I'm not a failure. Look how much stuff I've done before, and look how much things I can achieve. There will be tough times ahead, but I can do it, right? I've done karate. I can do it. So the best example I'm using is my student Danny, who is autistic. He came to us and couldn't be in a club without a parent and a brother. He wouldn't go on like events and stuff like that. Everything was, I don't want to do it. I don't want to swim. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to do this. Now it's 7 years later. He's a brown belt, getting ready for a black belt. I think next year he's going to be going for it. And he's on his own, going over events up to 200 people. Recently joined international seminars when he doesn't know anybody except me or a couple of other guys. He's thriving. His mentality change. Oh, I want this. It's a challenge. I'm going to take it as a challenge, right? And everything is like, I'm struggling, and his motto is black belt, black belt, black belt. Whatever struggle he comes in, I want a black belt. I need to do it. I want a black belt, you know? So he's changed completely. His parents swear it's karate. He's done other things. I'm sure it's, mix of his therapist and other activities.
For sure.
But we managed to shift that mentality from I afraid of this thing to this is a challenge. Let's see how I can do, right? And I keep saying to my son as well, because he said, "Oh, what happens if he's fine? What happens if I'm not gonna be good in my boogie pumps or whatever dancing he does?" And I said, "I don't care. You can be the worst person, but I want you to try your best. If you try your best and took the challenge, you're a winner." And I think that's the biggest message in martial arts, isn't it? And in life, just try, give it a try.
Definitely. It's the shift from fixed mindset to growth mindset. Fixed mindset is all about only taking risks so long as there's a guarantee that you're going to come off well and prove how good you are, or if there's no chance at all that you're going to succeed, and then you can say, oh, well, a white belt fighting a black belt. Oh, well, they were a black belt. I was never going to win anyway. So you have your excuse. But the growth mindset is being like, I'm going to try. I want the challenge. I want to get better. I want to learn. And yeah, I think it's a great explanation of how karate does help people shift their mindset in that way.
Thank you, because I'm not very good with words. It doesn't come naturally to me to speak and explain things.
Well, that's the thing, right? Karate is so sensory as well, too. It's sensory and experiential. So if you can't work things out by listening to verbal instructions, you can feel for your body how it's going to work. And in some ways, it's better because everybody's got a different body. Everyone has different strength and different muscles. Everyone has different length limbs, strengths, weaknesses. So you have the opportunity to be a different learning style and still, thrive and see that like, oh, I can do it. And it's experiential because you get to experience that. It's not just like, I have an idea in my head that maybe one day I could get towards my black belt. It's like, no, literally, I'm wearing the brown belt. I'm going to be a black belt. And I have evidence for that because I've passed all these other tests. And now I can do all these things that never in my wildest dreams I imagined would be possible.
Exactly. And the truth is, in all martial arts, feeling is believing, right? I can talk you about stuff. I can show you stuff, but till you not try it, you won't know. You can only imagine.
Definitely. And then the interesting part comes when you get the black belt and you realize the black belt means nothing.
Yes.
And then you've got to go back again to the start of realizing that you thought some external thing that was going to come from having a black belt actually wasn't there. And
yes,
there's some peace in that.
Realizations that actually nothing changed. I still have to work out. I still have to progress. It's just I kind of don't agree with people saying, oh, it's a beginning. This is not a beginning. You're in the middle, right? You're just progressing further. You're not suddenly forgetting everything and you're learning from beginnings. So it's just a natural progression, but it is not. We used to say that. Oh, look, he's a ninth dan and stuff like that. And one of my friends in Germany said, why are you saying, he's like a god? Like, why are you saying like that? He's going to toilet, he's eating, everything. He's just a normal person. He just wears a colorful belt, so just treat it normally. So I'm kind of allergic for shihans, hanshis, kaichos and stuff like that. Just normal people. If people like we started our conversation about titles today, right? If people coming on seminars and stuff when I'm teaching either in UK or abroad, start saying, "Oh, ooh, sensei," no, stop that. I'm not a sensei. I'm less. We're here to have fun. I'm not here for you to bow me, because the culture in karate, as you know probably from Kyokushin, I don't know how it was in Australia, but in Poland and UK, to the degree that you've been in the shops and people coming to you, whoosh, and you think like, we're in a shop, can you just go away, don't embarrass me, So I never liked that kind of title madness. So if you see me anywhere, dojo or whatever, I'm just less. If you want to address me sensei, that's fine, but I prefer less.
So interesting, right? A good friend of mine, I was having a conversation with him about the senpai kohai model, right? Seniors before juniors, and it's very much entrenched throughout karate. He said, what if we flipped that? And we talked about, and I talk about this with a lot of my clients that I work with, what if we flipped that? And so it was the coach showing reverie, gratitude, and respect to each client for the fact that they came on the mat, they're trusting you to teach you, they're existing as a human being. What if it went both ways in that way? You know, it wasn't senpai kohai, it was senpai kohai, kohai senpai, and therefore they're both kind of redundant, and we're all in a circle instead of in lines, and, you know, one person out the front and bowing to each other and things like that.
So we've done pretty much the same thing. We flipped that chart. So I call it the traditional and modern model. The traditional model is that, you know, the kohai comes in. So the kohai is, for those who don't know, the student who steps in, right? And instead of them looking up to people up to make them better, in ours is that the beginner steps in, and the responsibility of other group is to provide information towards the student, right?
Yes.
So it's not that he's have to follow. There, every student higher than a kohai is responsible for well-being of that person and technical development, right? So I cannot be everywhere all the time. So I need to have that feedback circle that every link is looking up to the first beginner. And like you said, respect, courtesy, everything, it have to come from the top, not being demanded from the bottom, if that makes sense.
Yes, definitely. We agree on so many things. This is why I love this podcast. I get to have such cool conversations with cool people like you, Les.
Thank you.
I have one final question, which I ask everybody, as you know, which is, we often hear people saying things like, karate saved me, right? Some of your students probably say something like that, you know, before karate, I was, you know, not wanting to do anything, and now I have this determination to get a black belt, or before karate and now this, or whatever it might be. And it means so many different things for different people. And in all the time I've been asking this question, it's sort of shifted more towards not just, you know, karate saved my life, which is the far end of the spectrum which most people would hear. But in reality, oftentimes they mean karate changed my life, right? So why do you think that is?
Why do I think that is? I think because you are put into difficult environment that teaches you that failure control, control failure, what I mean. And you are learning more about yourself through a difficult physical challenges, difficult mental challenges within non-judgmental, supportive environment, which is very important. Not every dojo or club is doing this, but I think if you find the right one, in that way, martial arts or other sports will change your life for positive.
Yeah, I love it. Is there any other topics that you would like to touch on as part of this conversation? And given my audience being martial artists and a lot of martial artists that have struggled with their mental health.
I would just say that, you know, try. Maybe not the first club gonna be best for you, but don't afraid to step to the other clubs and change. I see a lot of people afraid, and talk to a lot of people who are afraid of, oh no, I need to be loyal to my club, I cannot go somewhere else. No, your club needs to be loyal to you, right? So my view of loyalty is this. I have to be loyal to my students, and in that loyalty, the best interest of my student is on top, right? So if I see the student whom I want to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I recommend the club, and I rather have a friend who enjoys Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Taekwondo, Aikido, whatever, than an unhappy, mediocre student who is coming to my club because he feels obliged. So we all need to give ourselves a freedom to do whatever we think. And sometimes it is difficult to know what we like, if you're not being encouraged to go, right? Because people go for martial arts. This is karate. I'm going for karate. I'm going to like it. So that will happen to me. I went to the dojo and my teacher said, listen, there's 3 other schools. Go and check them first, then choose the one which you like. I never looked back from that teacher, and I've been doing most of martial arts at least once to try. So that's what I encourage my students. Just go out there, try as much as you can, choose the thing which suits you the best, the instructor that suits you the best, and just be happy doing stuff. It doesn't have to be karate.
I love it. It's great advice. And we spoke about them just briefly, but again, would you plug your books for everyone and let everyone know where they can get in contact with you online, should they so wish?
So online, everything Les Bubka, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channel, Amazon. Although I'm trying to kind of slow down the social media side, I'm getting a bit tired of it, so it's going to be less stuff. But info at Les Bubka, co.uk. You can get a hang of me via email. My books are available on Amazon. The first one I wrote is Anxious Black Belt. That's my story. There is a mental health journal, which we just done for martial artists as well, so not specific karate, when you can track your progression, track your moods, improvements of in mental health as well. So this is very popular with karate guys in UK. And my latest book is A Dark Side of Karate, when we look at what's lurking in the shadows of martial arts school, and it's great feedback from people as well, because so many people went through that political turmoil and not so gallant behaviors in martial arts.
For sure. Thank you so much. We will put links to all of those resources and sites in the show notes. And thank you so much for coming on, Les.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Have you thought of something to be grateful for today? What was it? I'm grateful for the amazing women that train with me at the Fight Back project. I'm grateful for Nari and the beautiful song Shape Me heard at the beginning and end of every episode. And I'm grateful for you for listening to this show and helping martial arts keep saving lives. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you'd like to leave me a review to help more people find the show, that's a bonus.
You need to know that nobody shapes me but me. Don't gotta tell you what my name is, I don't gotta explain it. Walk in the room, hear a boom erupting like I'm famous. I'm here shedding shells, I'm shameless. I fear nothing, no complacence. Walk too many tight ropes with no hope, so I became this poster they hold over all the heads of trauma holders. You don't need to know my history, I move boulders. Atlas shrug, cause I lifted the weight up off his shoulders. No pretense of defense, move first like chess soldiers. This goes deeper than empowerment, cause I'm the one that power it. Physical meets mental, challenge me to keep devouring. If I can't change the scenery, at least I change perspectives. No longer isolated, but elevated and selective. Darkest places become beautiful spaces. This is where rage meets patience, meets power meets gracious. Meets, we're so glad you came and the feeling is contagious. When you the walking impact of intended bad intentions. When you the manifesting of collecting all they tensions. You the soul and body hold it all and still remember. But I'm a work in progress, testament to all contenders. Forgot what it was like to have control over self. Forgot what it was like to be the one in charge. Forgot in my reflection I could see all my wealth. Forgot that with my bare hands I break all these bars, barriers and obstacles. They can't cage me, they can't chronicle all my experiences and reduce them to appearances. When I was truly beaten, gave myself clearances to fall down, mess up, and get myself back up. I'm not looking for clovers cause I don't believe in luck. Damn, you were badass, I heard them say it clearly. Why thank you very much, I know now I'm not weary of what's next for me, cause I expect to see growth like I was planted, watered, fed, and bloomed to be. The positivity and accountability, knowing they won't step if I'm the agent of my agency. I think I found my voice again, huh? I think I found my voice again, huh? I'm not sorry, you're the end where I begin. Boundaries, I know them well. Take a breath and meditate. Who is she? I know her well. Now I get to open gates. 1, 2, 1, 2. I don't need your permission. And if you get uncomfortable, then use your intuition to know that I won't stay where respect is ever missing. And everything I do, that's me making decisions. It's truly underrated, the value of self-worth. Forgot that I was rich from the moment of my birth. A penny from my thoughts, no really, you can't afford it. You cannot buy my story, rewrite it, or record it. You cannot buy my story, rewrite it, or record it, huh?